War. America always seems to be at war. We're fighting for our freedoms, or whether fighting for other people's freedoms, defending what is right and trying to persecute what is wrong. Sometimes we stick our nose in other countries' affairs and other countries' business, and it costs us, our nation, a great deal. Since the start of 2001, the United States has spent over $6 trillion on war. $6 trillion. It costs about $17,500 to suit up a soldier. Both of these stats are from the U.S. Department of Defense. $17,000 a soldier. This is not including broken equipment, anything else that may go wrong. $17,000 for basic equipment. Here are the charts on that. Now, while war seems necessary to a lot of Americans, the ending of war, I believe, can make America a better place. So this is why I'm here, to explain to you how our school systems, our homeless problem, and our failing infrastructure can all be solved by the ending of war. First thing I want to talk to you about is the homeless problem. In America, everywhere we go, it seems, we see homeless people. Whether they're out of a job, whether they're homeless veterans, anything and everything you can imagine that can cause somebody to be homeless happens in America. So it is estimated that $20 billion is all it would take to end homelessness in America. $20 billion. It would cost about $10,000 to give a homeless person shelter and give them job training. Think about that. $10,000 to give them a home and to train them for a job. It costs about $30,000 or more a year to keep them homeless. I'm not a great mathematician, I will admit, but the math doesn't seem to add up on that. We'd be losing $20,000 plus a year. If we can make individuals self-sufficient, can make them ambitious, can make them want to better themselves by giving them a home and a shelter and training, why shouldn't we? They'll get a job, they'll pay their taxes, they'll add to the economy. Instead of just spending $30,000 on their ER expenses, their legal issues, or anything else that may accrue that the state has to pay for that they do not get any return on. So it is just $30,000 down the drain a year. $20 billion out of the $6 trillion America has spent total seems almost like pennies out of a dollar. The next thing I would like to talk to you about is how ending the war can fix America's infrastructure. A report by 60 Minutes shows that 1 out of every 9 bridges in America is structurally deficient. That means it needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed now before it collapses. Over 70,000 bridges total in America fall under this category of not passing. Now, there was a bridge in Minnesota that had collapsed and killed 13 people and injured over 145. That can happen to anyone at any time if we don't act now and fix the infrastructure problem. Not only would fixing the infrastructure problem make us safer as a country, but it would only cost, out of the $6 trillion we spend on war, it would cost about $3.6 trillion to redo the entire infrastructure of America. Now, this is also important because, as I mentioned, the homeless problem in America is a big deal. So if we solve the homeless problem, train them, and open up jobs in construction and infrastructure, we're killing two birds with one stone. We're getting homeless off the streets. We're giving them a job. They're going to pay their taxes. They're going to shop. They're going to add to the economy. They're going to probably buy their own house, get married, and do all of that. But that's if we end war. Because if we end war, we can make this country better. Not only by just those two steps I mentioned. Ending homelessness, making our roads and bridges safer for us to drive over every single day on our way to work, on our way to and from school with our kids. But it would give us a peace of mind knowing that we don't have to fear. There's no danger in crossing over a bridge because it's safe, because it was taken care of by the money we would have spent on war, on sending our loved ones off to a dangerous place surrounded by gunfire. They might get injured, they might get killed, they might not come back the same. If we look at those two things on different spectrums, we'll almost always pick a better infrastructure, less homeless, and safer streets. The last thing, definitely not the least important, is the failing school systems in America. A report by the Huffington Post says that it would take only $542 billion to fix the school systems. This is to re-update the computers, to get new books, to remodel the schools, to make sure they're up to date and up to code. A lot of schools are over 50 years old and have never been remodeled or updated. In 1995, a report done by the JAO says that 15,000 schools were circulating air that was deemed unfit to breathe. Just think about that for a second. You, me, maybe your kids were sitting in a class breathing unfit air every single day for 8 or more hours. It's kind of a disturbing image, isn't it? When all we have to do is end war and we can remake schools from the ground up. New codes, new vents, new windows, new classrooms, everything. We can give our kids everything they need to succeed. Instead, we spend our money on war, and they fail out of school, and they become sick because the air is unfit to breathe. And since they drop out or fail out of school, they don't get a job. They don't get a job, they may become homeless. They may become homeless. Again, we're just spending money. The $30,000 a year takes to take care of a homeless person for ER visits, jail time, and all that. We're failing as a country because we're putting so much money into war. And that is dangerous, because if we keep on this path as we are, soon enough there won't be enough educated people around to save us. There won't be enough doctors, there won't be enough engineers, there won't be enough anything. So we have to stop war. We have to stop burning through all of that money and put it towards things that actually matter. You cannot tell a kid they cannot go to college because they can't afford it when you're spending $6 trillion on a war that a lot of people don't want. So please, vote, become active, and try to make a difference, because we cannot keep this trend up. It is dangerous for our country, it is dangerous for our youth, it is dangerous for us. We need to fix America from the ground up, but it can only start once we stop making a profit out of war. Thank you.